Hi there, I'm Katie Cat, and this is our weekend tarot. I'm actually not going to do Astro Tarot today. I am just going to read the cards, and today we have 6 cards on the table. The opening card that we have is the 9 of Wands. The challenge we're working with today is the 3 of Pentacles, clarified by the Judgment card, and the ultimate outcome came in as the Ace of Pentacles, clarified by the 2 of Wands, followed up with more clarity by way of Temperance. So, many of us are likely looking over a span of time and learning from a situation, either where we gave our effort to something that didn't pan out, or where we, kind of got beat up through a situation. Having this opening card of the 9 of Wands is someone who is coming to a place of completion around where they've put their efforts and their energy. So this person is learning from their past experiences, and we can see that they look a little beat up from this. And yet there's lots of different ways to look at this card. This person is gathering themselves after an experience. It's like they're gathering their energy, or, collecting themselves after an experience that put them through a lot. And the challenge that we are looking at today came in as the 3 of Pentacles. So this is someone who is working on their resources and building something. It's the master craftsman. So it could be likely that where you put your energy and effort kind of pulled your attention away from some things that really brought stability in your life, and you're starting to see that and how it's creating some kind of stress in your life. But consider, of course, that the Master Craftsman is a positive card. So in some ways, life can sometimes help steer our ship, right? Like if there's a storm that came in by way of either emotional or financial or, time constraint or something otherwise that gave you some kind of snapshot around where you're kind of losing yourself, this is bringing your attention back to that which you actually want to build and need to grow. Now, the way that we're going to get through the challenge came in as the Judgment card. So this is a big realization. This is someone who's starting to see out of the confinement of some kind of situation to the bigger picture of things. We see that there's these 3 bodies. I'll cover over their parts. There's these 3 people, the man, woman, and child, who are coming out of what looks like little coffins, these boxes that are all dark, and they are rising up to this angelic force that's calling them forth by this trumpet. So it's speaking to some kind of calling or some kind of, urge to put your energy towards something that's bigger than where, perhaps your energy has been focused. So, we gather ourselves so we can put our energy and effort towards that which we feel called to do. Now, the clarity that came in for today by way of the Ace of Pentacles, the 2 of Wands, and Temperance, in a lot of ways is reminding us that there is this opportunity, right? When there's an Ace of Pentacles, it's as if someone has handed you a big coin and is asking you what you want to go do with it, because they're getting ready to walk on this path up this mountaintop. And in a lot of ways, I feel like, the earth element and our resources is too often associated with monetary situations, although in a lot of ways it can be telling us that that's where we need to be putting our energy and effort, is creating stability in that area. But it's also mentioning our resource of time and what we do with our time. And so, as you gather yourself from these experiences that you've gone through and you've put your energy toward, where do you think is the most useful application of your time and your energy so that you can apply your energy to this thing that perhaps, you've disregarded or not given a lot of attention to? Because, right now we do have all the planets moving direct, right? So we do have a lot of energy astrologically that's encouraging us to move forward with things. But in in some ways, you know, our ship can get caught up in the different elements. It can get caught up in the mind. It can get caught up in the emotions. Sometimes it can get caught up with physical ailment or physical, you know, injury. But ultimately, all of these tools that we have in our life are aligned and they're driven by some kind of spiritual purpose. And this ultimate outcome, you know, that was clarified by the Temperance in a lot of ways is, I think, reminding us to keep that in focus and to use the opposing forces in our lives to bring something up that is really important for us to work with. Because we see this figure who almost looks angelic in a lot of ways, and they have these two, you know, goblets in their hand, one in either hand. And these fluids are seemingly mixing, you know, at this angular pour. And then what's coming out of his mind are these symbols that are going out into the world. And so, you know, it's telling us in a lot of ways to hold hope in places where perhaps, you know, we're seeing in a bit of fog right now, but also to use what we observe in the situations that we've been going through to possibly redirect our attention to that which we feel like we really need to be putting our energy and effort toward right now. And, you know, just to speak to some interesting aspects of what is going on astrologically in reflection to some of this stuff, we have, if you look up at the night sky, and you don't have a cloudy sky like we do where I currently live, and you look to the west after the sun goes down, you'll see Jupiter and Venus in really close proximity in the western sky, because Venus just passed over Jupiter, and so basically now Venus is going to be progressively going away from Jupiter because it has a smaller elliptical orbit, and so therefore it moves faster in its rotation around the sun. Now, what's interesting about those two planets being close together is that Chiron is also up there. And Chiron is considered the wounded healer. Some people call them the sacred healer. And it's the place where in our natal chart, it shows us where our wound is. But in healing that wound, we also realize our greatest gift that we can offer the world, because ultimately we're healing ourselves and we have something to offer through that experience. And so a lot of people right now are getting kind of like some triggers in some things that haven't been healed in their lives, and, you know, things that they are getting some serious work on. And I think that it's important to realize that when things show up like that, rather than trying to bury it, you know, sometimes it's showing us where we need to look and where we need to give energy and effort toward. And considering that we have this Judgment card here, which is really telling us that there's something that's trying to call us out of that dark place and out of that dark unknown, there's also a lot of help there. Interestingly enough, Temperance is associated with Sagittarius and the planet of Jupiter. And Jupiter is typically a you know, considered a beneficiary or benefactory planet. So it brings help, it brings assistance, it brings support. And so is Venus, but they're in this sign of Aries. And so it's like this part of our deep sense of self is getting expanded upon and also kind of pressed on at the same time. And yet, in some ways, I think it's, you know, showing us where our work is and reminding us where our community is and asking us to just step into it so that we can take care of these things and be able to move forward into the next thing. Because the Two of Wands is this person who feels this calling to move towards something, but there's this piece that's still bolted behind them on the wall behind them. So it's in a lot of ways telling us, in order to move forward into the direction we feel so called to move toward, we really have to complete this thing that has been showing up, you know, as this kind of like anchor behind us. especially if that anchor is the one that we're beating ourselves up with. You know, we have to take care of that. So yeah, interesting reading today. Interesting cards today. I hope it was useful. And of course, I hope you are well. I will see you again soon. Bye for now.